Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Unnamed Shadow, a story about Jungkook, silence, and someone. There are stories that don't start with words, but with silence. And sometimes, silence is louder than any stage scream. Like the night that falls slowly without anyone realizing it, this story came to be. Uninvited, unexplained, just felt. In an old city rarely mentioned on maps, with the sea breeze slipping through the cracks of stones in history, two figures walk side by side. One is the man who has filled our lives with light and sound, Jungkook. And the other is a mystery. He walks beside her, not behind. Not as a bodyguard, not as a manager, not as a crowd. But as someone important enough to share the silence with her. A hat covers part of his face. His steps are in sync, calm, and somehow that moment feels like an unfinished poem. A photo that changed everything. The internet didn't explode because of sound. It exploded because of silence. A blurry photo, no flash, no filter. Just two shadows in the twilight. The world didn't look at the photo to make sure it was Jungkook. It looked for meaning. Why was he there? Why was there no sound? And who was important enough to walk with him in a place like that? The picture didn't provide answers, but it opened the door to 1,000 possibilities. And behind each possibility there were emotions rolling like waves, longing, curiosity, hope, and a subtle fear. Words never spoken but felt. Army knew him not just from his music, but from the vibrations of his heart. And lately those vibrations have changed. His lives have gotten shorter. His gaze has gotten deeper. His laugh is still there, but it sounds like an echo from a faraway place. And there's one unforgettable line. It's not about the music. It's something personal. It's not time to be heard yet. Back then we thought it was just about the album. But now, not anymore. It's a piece of a bigger story. A message in a bottle thrown into the vast ocean, hoping someone will find it. A nameless but meaningful figure. The name eventually emerged, Alejandro Rivera. An artist. A filmmaker. But not from the world we usually know. He didn't seek the spotlight. He sought the truth. He was known to choose not actors but souls. People who were hurt, who were brave, who were searching for something. And Jungkook perhaps saw a reflection of himself in this project. Not to perform, but to open up. Not to be a star, but to be human. More than a film, a healing. Rumor has it that this isn't your typical documentary. There's no script, no screenplay, just emotions, raw moments, tears unaccompanied by music, laughter that comes from exhaustion, memories captured like morning light through a window. If this is true, Jungkook isn't working. He's struggling. To be honest. To feel. To come back to himself. And in the process, he taught us that sometimes, the greatest courage is to be vulnerable. A mirror for us all. The fandom's response wasn't about who the man next to her was. It was about what her journey meant to us. If this was her story, I would listen to it until the end, even if it broke me. She's given enough. Now it's time for her to receive. And thousands of similar comments followed. Tears shared. Wounds acknowledged. Love unconditional like a hug in a storm. This wasn't about celebrity anymore. This was about the courage to reveal ourselves. About how Jungkook became a mirror, and we all saw ourselves in him. Cues from brothers who understand. Silence doesn't mean ignorance. The members of BTS don't talk much. But they speak from their hearts. Jimin wrote, "Sometimes healing means walking alone first." Taehyung took a picture of the sky. Wordlessly. Namjoon said, "Who are we without applause?" And Jin simply said, "Let him find something." It wasn't advice. It was a blessing. A hug in words. And now, we may never know all the answers. We may never see his face clearly or hear the contents of their conversation. But maybe that's not what matters. What matters is respecting the journey. Trusting that there's a time to give and a time to come back whole. Jungkook has been our light. Now maybe it's our turn to be his quiet comfort. Because true love doesn't demand explanations. It simply says, "I'm here." Even when you can't speak. The step that leads home. A few weeks have passed since the photo surfaced. And while the world keeps moving with news, concerts, debuts, and schedules, in the hearts of many, time seems to have stopped at one point. Jungkook's one silent step in an old town, with someone we don't know, but somehow we trust. They say time heals everything. But time also keeps. It holds secrets that aren't yet ready to be revealed. And in Jungkook's silence we learn that not everything has to be explained to be felt. Back to music? Or back to ourselves? Amidst the speculation, new notes emerge. Not from the studio but from a leaked recording, a soft guitar, a breathy voice, incomplete lyrics. I walked far away not to go away, but to know where I should go home. ARMY caught it. Caught it with their hearts. This wasn't your average comeback. This wasn't a promotion. This was a small note from someone looking for a home. Not a place to live, but a place to be whole again. Alejandro and the movie that will never be released. A brief interview with Alejandro Rivera appeared in an independent arts magazine. He didn't mention names. But when asked about his latest project, he simply said, "Sometimes a person comes not to become a character, but to let go of the character they've been playing. We're not making a movie. We're just capturing the truth. And that's enough." Readers know. He's talking about him. About the man who was once known to the world as the Golden Maknae, but now is learning to be Jungkook, without the spotlight, without a schedule, without expectations. Taehyung and a letter that was never sent. On Weverse, a fan found a snippet of lyrics that Taehyung had posted in a closed community. It was short-lived. Then it was gone. But it was enough for those who had seen it. If you come back like the morning. Slow, warm, and without saying anything. The lyrics were toneless, but they had meaning. And everyone who reads it knows it's not just lyrics. It's permission to go home. What does someone we don't know mean? We may never know who that person is, walking beside Jungkook. Maybe they're just a friend. Maybe they're a teacher. Or just a regular person who shows up at the loneliest time in someone's life. But in every big story, there's always a small character who quietly changes everything. Not because they're famous, but because they're genuine. And maybe that's what Jungkook needs. Not the world loving him for who he is, but someone seeing him when he's nothing. What do we learn from all this? We learn that even a light as bright as Jungkook needs a place to go dark for a while. That not all love has to be loud, big, or ever present. Sometimes love just means, I understand you have to go and I'll still be here when you come back. We don't have the answers, but we do have faith. The belief that no matter what happens, no matter who he meets, and no matter where his steps take him, he is never truly alone. Because love given honestly is never far away. It always waits. Quietly. Patiently. Just like us. And if you're reading this, Jungkook, we know you're walking. Maybe none of us know how hard it is. But if you need a place to rest, know this. We are the home that always waits to come home. Unnoticed steps home. There was no announcement. No live broadcast. Just a blurry photo on a small cafe account in Seoul. A man sitting alone wearing a big hoodie, his face downcast behind the steam of hot coffee. But we knew. We always knew. It was Jungkook. Back not in the spotlight, but in silence. Not with a new song, but with a more peaceful breath. And in his eyes, though covered by the hoodie, was someone who had been through something. Something that changed the way he saw the world and himself. A night, a letter. In the midst of the still silence, Big Hit suddenly uploaded a video. No teaser. No countdown. Just one sentence at the beginning of the screen. To those who have waited, this is not music. This is the heart. Then the dark screen slowly lit up. A 4-minute video. Jungkook sat on the floor in an empty room with an open window. The wind swayed the curtains. He stared at the camera, saying nothing for almost a minute. Then he took a breath. I'm not leaving because I'm lost, but because I want to know who I am without the stage. I want to know if the voice you love can still be heard when everything is quiet. I don't have a new song, but I have a calmer heart. And if you're still here, thank you for waiting. I'm not alone on this journey, but the story isn't just mine to tell. So for now, let me just say I'm back. And then the video ended. No logo. No date. No explanation. BTS, a wordless hug. The next day, Jimin's Instagram account posted an old photo, Jungkook asleep on a couch, surrounded by his members. The caption was just one emoji, dove. Namjoon wrote a short poem. He came back with the wind. Not with a sound, but with a feeling. And that is more than enough. Taeyong posted a piano clip. Soft tunes. Untitled. And Jin, in his usual matter-of-fact style, wrote, "If she wants to talk, we listen. If she wants to be quiet, we guard her place." That's not a promotion. That's love. That's a family welcoming home someone who's walked too far to heal themselves. ARMY, letters that were not written but felt. ARMY didn't wait for a song. They waited for a beat. And now they're writing thousands of digital letters. But not to ask for an explanation. But to give a hug that couldn't be sent by mail. You taught us the meaning of giving. Now it's time for you to receive. Thank you for coming home, even if your heart hasn't fully returned. We don't know who walked with you on that lonely road. But we do know you weren't really alone. And somehow, every sentence, every cry, every emoji, became a kind of prayer. A prayer for her to know. True love doesn't need to see the stage. He just needs space to keep loving. Ending or beginning. This story may not have an ending. Or maybe this is the end, not a closure, but the beginning of a new way of living, creating, and loving. And if you ask, who is that man walking with Jungkook in that secret place? The answer may not be one person. Maybe it's a part of himself. A part that has been hidden behind the spotlight. That finally dares to show itself.